My name is Simon Murphy. I'm the Chief Entrepreneur in Residence at the Melbourne Accelerator Program. Today we're very lucky to be joined by Cherie Anderson, who is the co-founder of Elliephant. Elliephant is one of the startups in the MAP 2023 cohort. Cherie, maybe give us a bit of background about Elliephant and how the idea came about.
Sure. So Elliephant came about a number of years ago now. It was when I was working at a business called Elliephant, which is a HR tech business, and I was working there with my co-founder, Johnny. I was working in the team when it was quite small, under sort of 10 employees, and I put my hand up to make sure that everyone was feeling appreciated, remembered on all the moments that mattered. So thinking about moments like birthdays, anniversaries, having babies, getting married, etc. I created a little Excel spreadsheet and I wanted to add everyone's preferences, the things they loved and the dates that were important. And I did that for everyone, plugged the dates into my calendar. And then the team grew really quickly and that became really hard to manage. We wanted to give gifts also to our clients. And I wanted to find a platform that would manage that for me and make that much easier and automate the dates as well. And I couldn't find any solution that would do that. And that was where the idea sort of was born from, was to create a platform that could manage all those moments and remember all those dates.
I love it. I think spreadsheets are the best way to come up with a startup idea, and kind of also for a SaaS business, and also the biggest competitor once you do launch it. How long ago was that when you first noticed that this was a bigger problem?
It would have been about 8 years ago.
Wow, okay. And so what was the process of first realizing there was a problem there to that idea kind of ruminating to your first sort of part of action?
Yeah, I thought about the idea for a long time, as you can imagine. So it was, I knew that idea was there, that it was something that was exciting, that there were huge opportunities, but it probably wasn't until I really thought about it deeply over time that I could see the opportunity for it to really grow into something quite large, and that it would also impact organisations of every size. It was probably in the later years, I started another business called The Career Conversation with a couple of guys, and working really closely with companies, particularly their HR departments, and thinking about how we could impact employees within the business, graduates that were joining the business. And I saw all these opportunities where you could really impact the moments that really matter. So things like for a graduate, it could be onboarding, pre-boarding into a new role, and sending an offer acceptance gift, meeting with a buddy or a mentor, celebrating the end of year exams, day one into the job. And then once they're into the job, thinking about how you can celebrate those moments to keep them engaged, also help with retention of those individuals. So appreciation moments that might happen 3 months, 6 months, 12 months into the role. So there were so many opportunities that were presenting themselves in that work that I was doing, and the idea just got bigger and bigger and more compelling. And talking to my co-founder Johnny, also we could see the opportunity with our current clients that we already were working with, and really everyone else would be the same situation. Yeah.
That sounds like such a typical story where people have this amazing idea, and I think that's when you know you've got something there, when you kind of keep building on it and there's a lot of different directions and opportunities that you can take it into. So the idea was 8 years ago. What was the first, maybe from your perspective, the real first bit of action that you went towards actually seeing if there was a product and a business behind this?
Yeah, I mean, the idea itself was keeping me up at night. I was finding that I was getting up at crazy hours of the night, like writing stuff down. And I think it was when I started really scoping it out with some people that were close around me, and really, thinking about how it could actually work. We did, some drawings, some prototypes, and just really understanding how we would want it to operate and function. And I think once we started seeing it on paper, that's when we started getting really excited. It was like, okay, this actually has legs. This is something, that would really work. And also talking to potential customers and clients about the idea, and, is this something that you would actually be interested in, or is it something that you would buy? I think that's probably the the point that we got super excited about, and we're like, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. Let's build it.
Was there any interesting or unexpected insights from having those first conversations with potential customers?
Yeah, I mean, so we built the product and we talked with a lot of customers. We always had the perspective from a HR background, so we were always thinking about employee gifting. And it wasn't until we launched in October last year that very quickly we learned that we needed to switch on client gifting. So we just hadn't thought about it from that point of view. So we learned a whole bunch of stuff very, very quickly. There were just a load of insights that we'd never even thought about.
Well, what's the most important one that you feel like has really adjusted the trajectory of the company?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a couple. I think we started out with the business as employee gifting. Very quickly, I think probably within a month, we switched it on to employee and client gifting. We also initially started as an Australian platform, but worked out very quickly again that we needed to expand and have gifting within the whole APAC region, if not further than that. And I think the other thing that we worked out very quickly was that when it comes to gifting, it's very, very messed up and it's very complex, and it's a burden for a lot of organisations. So even trying to find the right address details for individuals. So when a company, you can imagine a company with thousands of employees wants to gift to everyone at scale, that's a mammoth job. And then trying to make sure that everyone's address details is correct is another mammoth job. So you would think, we'll just pull everyone's details from like a HR platform or a Xero or payroll platform, for example. But those address details are out of date very, very quickly. So we had to work out how we would be able to send gifts without needing that information. So thinking about gifting via email and collecting that information once we've emailed the recipient, or even sending out gifting via like a URL, via a gifting link that you could share to the masses, and they could then add those details again.
So what were some of the challenges that you hadn't anticipated with the product before it was launched?
Yeah, I think we probably underestimated how complex the vendor side is. So, delivery of gifts, I think delivery in general in Australia is pretty messed up, and we're relying on companies that can deliver a great experience to the end recipient, and we're hoping that things will get there in a certain amount of time. They'll get there with, they'll be in a good condition, and then the experience when someone actually opens a gift is a great experience, so it looks beautiful. And that's something that was probably underestimated by us initially. We've partnered with some really awesome partners, but some things are just out of our control. So during COVID, delivery was really, really difficult in Australia, and just being able to explain, that is going to be a factor that could come up again, and then also thinking about how we manage that. So making sure that we're partnering with the right people that have the right kind of delivery, that have the right kind of gifting experience, that when a recipient unboxes, that it feels great, they're delighted, and it's not a sad moment. So,
well, speaking of sad moments, is there a particular incident or maybe experience that was a lot more negative than what you wanted when you realised, hey, a lot of this is out of our control, there's only so much we can do? Any kind of really unfortunate situation where that kind of brought that realisation upon you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of things that have been out of our control. We just had some great gifting that's just happened through Asia, and it's been a new market for us and a bit of an unknown, so not sure exactly how things were going to unfold. And I think what we learnt was it's really hard to get products from Australia overseas, and We found, little glitches and moments where, for example, gifts were getting stuck in customs in another country. So, then you were getting bad, people like, where's my gift? What's going on? So really trying to manage those moments and just being really, upfront, honest about what's happened and communicating really clearly with the client and then for the recipient as well, just so they understand what's going on. But, tough, those moments that you can't control.
How do you and the team internally go about managing so much uncertainty?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we try to scope out as much as we can in advance. So really sort of mapping out what a process will look like, what are the different steps in that process, and, where could things go wrong. As much as we can do that, we do. And there's always going to be things that come up that are a little out of our control, but having really strong relationships with our network and being really clear about what our expectations are, and I think that that's what we can do.
Yeah, I think that's some great insights. How much of your experience in working in corporate roles prior to this has impacted on the DNA of Elliephant and the way that you've decided to build the company?
Yeah, I think a lot. I've worked in some big organisations like ANZ, for example, and then worked in some really small startups. So I've had very rounded experience, and there's very different dynamics in different sized teams. I think I think probably one of the great things that I experienced in the smaller teams was just that kind of family culture, and everyone's really close, everyone celebrates moments together, and that doesn't happen so much in a big corporation or a big enterprise company as much as you'd like it to. And I think for us it's thinking about how can you help a business do that better, and even as much as you automate things, how can you make individuals in a big organisation feel like they're getting a personal experience and they're really seen and known, and that that organisation cares about them. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. I love that you kind of self-promoted the service within that. I'm assuming that the gifting within your business is elite. You must be able to proactively understand what people want before they even know they want it in your own team.
Yeah, I think, really getting to know your team as well as you can. Our platform does profile people, so, understanding people's preferences, but I think it's important for everyone to understand who they're working with, what excites people, what makes people feel passionate, and then to, be excited with them about those things.
And what's the best reaction or moment that you've had so far with a customer or a partner was there a time where something really exceeded their expectations?
Yeah, we actually we gifted to someone that has been close to us and a mentor to us in a moment that was really, she was struggling and it was really difficult for her, and she was still giving us so much of her time, and we wanted to send a little appreciation gift. And we sent a little box of chocolates, and it was just out of the blue and very, very simple. It didn't cost a fortune, but the impact of that was huge. And the response was amazing for us as well. The note that went with that, and just you really do care about me. And also just the flow-on effect from that gift. Something so small can create such a big return on investment. So, talking to so many more people than we would have expected, and just really, sharing that on socials. And yeah, I think small tokens of appreciations and moments like that are underestimated, and people don't do it enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. I think it's pretty prevalent that you really do live the ideals of what you're trying to get across, not just with the company, but with the product and the service. It's more than just a logistical way to improve gifting. It's more about showing people that you care. I personally am really keen to see the B2C side of things, because I'm from a big family and I am terrible at gifting. So I would love
Yeah.
to see a consumer version of this.
Yeah, my mum's already using the platform and she's got all of our family members as employees in the employee side. So, yeah, but she's excited about it because there's too many birthdays and things to remember. So, yeah.
Well, once you've globally dominated the B2B industry,
Yeah.
let's consider a pivot.
It's
to
definitely
B2C
on the
world.
roadmap, but it's maybe a little way away. Yeah.
Okay, so it's really clear what your motivations are within the company and within the product. Is there anything else outside of the business that drives you or your ambition personally?
Yeah, I mean, I have two girls, so I've got a 16 and almost 12-year-old. They absolutely drive me. I think I've always been super passionate about gender equality. I've sat on a board, the 100% project, which is supporting gender equality, and I want to make sure that they see a great role model in their mum. I think everyone's got a responsibility to try their hardest at whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a CEO or a co-founder of a company, but really giving something that they're passionate about a really good shot. And I think my girls have definitely seen that. That they tell me often that they're proud of me, which is really something super special for me. And I think that probably is the biggest sign of success for me over anything.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something you can't quantify, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of and they don't have to be, incredibly burdensome in your personal life, but what are some of the sacrifices that you feel like you have to make as a startup founder as opposed to having maybe more of a typical corporate role?
Yeah, I don't think it's easy. There's no hiding that. It's a really tough role to be a founder of a startup. And I think probably at my stage of life, I'm a little bit older than the majority of the MAP cohort that I'm with. And, you could get to this point and just go, you know what, I'm not going to do this. But I think the sacrifices are, for me, family and friends and spending quality time with family and friends. But I think they are excited about this as much as I am. So it's keeping them involved and taking them on the journey as well. Did I answer your question actually, Simon?
Yeah, a little bit. And I'm keen to delve in there a little bit more. How well do you feel that maybe your friends in your personal life understand what it's like being a founder of an early stage startup?
I think unless you've really been on this journey, you probably don't ever truly understand that. I think those people that are really close to me can see what it's like. They know that it takes up a lot of time and effort. I think for people who aren't as close, I think they probably think I'm a little bit crazy, which I'm okay with. I think crazy people are great, and that's what changes the world. So yeah, it's a mix of reactions to being a startup founder. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what, do you think that makes it a little bit harder when it's, that's what I've found, that, people in your personal life that maybe don't understand it at all and are like, why would you do this? You had a great professional corporate job before this. It's a lot easier to dive back into his hard. And it's a interesting comment you made about MAP. I do see every year it is a bunch of crazy nerdy people in one place, and that's what makes it so special. And I think if this is the only place in your life where people get you, then that's from my perspective a beautiful thing, and we're really doing our job. How do you take all the experience that you've got from work, and what are the most important tenets of building the company that you want to see? You've been, like you said, you've been involved in big organizations and small organizations, and you want to see that impact you have on the team. But what do you purposely build into the DNA of Elliephant?
I think it's probably getting as much as you can right from the get-go, and making sure that we've got the right culture in the business, that people are really honest with each other, that they're really transparent with each other. I think, I've seen things that work well and things that don't work well, and I think getting the right people around you is super important, making sure that you can rely on the people that are around you as well. And it's not only your team members, it's, it's your family and your friends as well, and making sure that you've got that kind of, network of support around you all the time. Yeah, I feel like I've got a few grey hairs now and like experience, and that it's definitely helped me. And yeah, it definitely comes back to just making sure that you're trying to set the ground rules, a really clear vision from the get-go, that you're really thinking through things before you just go and do them, and trying to make as few mistakes as you possibly can along the way, even though you will make mistakes for sure. There's no way out of that. But I think, we all learn from our mistakes as well. So yeah, I think probably for me, number one would be the culture of the team, and making sure that that's a really positive culture, that people feel like they can speak, that they're seen, that they understand what we're all driving towards, and that they're all really passionate and excited about what we're building as well. So, yeah.
So you mentioned in there putting the right people around you, maybe internally with the team, and then also kind of like mentors and advisors. What have you learned about curating people that want to be involved in the company? Because it's no secret at the moment, Elliephant's growing really well. I know, Matt, we're really proud of all the progress that you've made and kind of having you as part of our program. How do you go about putting the right people around the company?
Yeah, I think it's a process, it's finding the right people to start with. I think along our journey, we have met, amazing people. I feel like I've been fortunate to have great mentors. My last role with the Career Conversation, I had two great co-founders who were a little bit older than me and really coached me. I think now it's thinking about, who do we build around us, be it mentors or advisors. I think the MAP cohort that we have, people who are on the same journey, that's really powerful. But also the MAP mentors that we have around us have been incredibly important and have given us so much help and insight. So I think, you can find great people in a lot of different places. It could be customers, it could be your investors, it could be your advisors. But it's making sure that they're people that you can really trust, people that you can be really honest again with, and really just talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It doesn't all have to be good stuff. So, yeah.
That's really insightful. And I know we've spoken about family is really the most important thing in your life, but I'd say probably the most next important thing is co-founder relationship. I've noticed you and Johnny have a great relationship, really transparent, really respectful of each other. What are the most important insights that you've picked up about not only managing that co-founder relationship, but being really proactive and making sure that you remain on the same page and that your goals are aligned for whatever the vision is you have for Elliephant?
Yeah, Johnny and I feel really fortunate to have Johnny. He's like an amazing co-founder. And I think having worked with him in two roles prior to this one, we know how to work together well, and we know how to communicate with each other really well. We catch up, every day, like constantly. We have a session with each other every Monday where we talk about what we did well, and we share something that we've done well and something that we could be doing better. And we do that once a week, and we're really honest with each other about that. So, we want to say things to each other where we can learn and grow. And sometimes it's uncomfortable, but that's okay. I think it's important to not need to always agree on everything. Like, we do disagree on a lot of things, but we always make sure we do that in a really respectful way. And sometimes, yes, it can get heated, but we always make sure that when we finish the conversation, that we're always like, okay, we're good. Like, it's always done in kindness, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I think the co-founder relationship is super important. And, yeah, I feel very, very fortunate, to be honest.
That's great that you had a chance to work together professionally before in multiple roles for something. That's, I think, if you had to pick sort of the perfect kind of origin story for co-founders, it would be to have spent a lot of time together personally and professionally and kind of understand each other's ways of working. Because for most co-founders, it's generally the first thing they've done together. And I don't know if you would agree with this, but for me, it really is very similar to a marriage. And I have a lot of people asking me, how to find a co-founder. It's a little bit like asking how to find someone to marry. I don't really know. It's really hard. It's really complicated, and it is probably a bigger. I mean, obviously, marrying the wrong person would have its own challenges, but it is a big risk when the co-founder relationship, starts off in a bit of an uncomfortable place, or maybe it's not meant to be. I want to talk a little bit more about what the vision is. So where do you see, you've got some incredible kind of runs on the board at the moment and a lot of positive things happening, but let's look ahead like 10 years.
Yeah.
Where things have all gone really well. What's Elliephant doing? Where is it at?
Yeah, so our vision is to be the leading B2B gift intelligence solution in APAC. And we're on the very beginning of that journey, and there's a whole bunch of steps that need to be taken to get there. I think for us, we've got a really clear vision and plan about where we want to be, what we want to do and where we want to go. And, part of that is to be based not only in Australia, but also in, potentially Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever that might be. And then thinking about, where could we go beyond that? It could be outside of the APAC region, or it could even be that at some point we're acquired. So, we might not be here in 10 years. We're conscious of that. We could only be around for 5 years. I don't know. So, but, we're really aligned on, I think Johnny and I as co-founders are really aligned on, what that could look like and what the potential could be there, and really always just, being able to pivot and change and also, adopt something that we don't expect that comes along the way. So, yeah.
I like it. Keeping kind of an open mind, but there is really things you're working towards.
Absolutely.
Let's quickly chat about investors. So I've been really fortunate. I've met a couple of your investors, had really positive things to say. What's like one tip that you have for founders that are thinking about raising capital and going down that path?
Yeah, I think it's a tough path. There's no way around that. It takes time. It can be disheartening. But I think where we've probably had, the most sort of traction has been where we've got to know an investor and build a relationship with the investor. So, it's not just a one-off sort of half-hour, 45-minute conversation. It's, going to some events, meeting them, having a chat, getting to know them beyond just their investment world or, whatever they might be doing. But find out a little bit more about them on a personal level as well. And that's when they sort of see beyond just the company, and they see you as a founder and your potential and, who you are and, your integrity, I guess, as a person as well. So I think, you've got to put a little bit of work in. When you're having those conversations, you're meeting those people, and you've got to be willing to be, available and present, more than once. I think it's an ongoing relationship, and it doesn't end at each round. You've got to continue that. You've got to make sure that you're keeping in contact with everyone and just, building on that relationship.
Amazing. Cherie, thanks so much for joining us today. This has been a really insightful conversation, and we're really excited to see where Elliephant goes in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.